a Pete Primeau fan.
Thank you for having me.
Your fans are like...
What an honor to be here, Pete. You're a legend. You're a rock star.
I'm a legend in my own mind, said my wife.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
I'm Mr. Selling from the Heart. What's this guy, Larry Levine, going to teach me about selling from the heart?
You are one of the most generous and authentic people around. And I think that's why you and your show are so attractive to people.
Welcome to the Pete Primeau Show. It is episode 247. And we have Brent Batterman with us from Bedhead Marketing, and I cannot wait to get there, but let me pay the bills really quickly. If you haven't bought my book, Sell a Million, what are you waiting for? And by the way, it's really not a sales book. It's a marketing book, and it is a business book. The best compliment I've ever gotten on the book is from Doug Stewart. If you take the word furniture and mattresses out of it, it's just a great marketing and a great business book. And if you want a sales book, my friend, Brent Batterman, helped me with this book. As a matter of fact, he wrote 2 chapters in this book, along with Jeff Chinakovo, Scott Vaughn, Krista Haney, Mark Klingenberg, Justin Trumbo, Steve Carnes, Randy Thompson, Mel Opp, Keith Cassinguy, and my friend Jerry Morris wrote and rewrote almost all of my blogs, never charged me a dime, and he's a much better writer than I'll ever be. So Jerry Morris, I'll love you forever for doing that. If you do sales meetings on a weekly basis, this is literally 3 years worth of sales meetings. So grab it on Amazon. I think it's some stupid price, like $20 or just under $20. So grab it and benefit from it, because there's over 43 years of my experience, but when you combine everybody's experience, you're talking about 400 or 500 years of experience that are in this book easily. So grab it and help your salespeople be more productive, and literally they can start making more money almost immediately. Without a further ado, let's get to our guests. And let me just say this. Oh, thank you, Chris. Chris Stone, you are the best producer in the world, because I have sponsors that I need to thank. So thank you, Steve and Greg from the Mattress Industry Network group. If you want to learn how to build, market, sell, and succeed, join this group. And you don't have to be all alone in this business. So it's a free Facebook group, and come on in here. Everybody's in here, from VPs of sales, store owners, sales pros that work the retail floor. Also, owners of manufacturing companies are even in here. And so it is a great place to network, great place to learn, and it's free. So come on in and join us. I believe we're over 2,600, maybe 2,700 strong at this point. So great group. Highly encourage you to join it. And without a further ado, welcome, Brent.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me back on the show. Huge fan. Thank you. I appreciate all that you do, and Chris, and it's great. And I'm very honored to be back.
So this is, by the way, not only international, but also from South America. Scott Vaughn says, I'm ready for this one. Precious Pete with Big Bad Brent Batterman. Wow. Notebook and pen in hand and ready to take notes from the best. That's not there was like no pressure, right? And now like Vaughn comes in, he puts all this pressure on you, Brent. Can you handle it, brother? Can you handle it?
I don't know if I'm able to, but I'll tell you this. I got a chance to see him present last week, and he's so dynamic on the stage. I love his energy. He connects, and he can really speak to what I call, to the sales associates, and you can listen to him speak and take what he tells you and literally a few moments later use it in your presentation and help make a difference on the sales floor. I love it. Thank you so much for being on the show. It's great.
I call him the Zig Ziglar of the mattress industry, and I think that's a pretty good. He's more than that, but he certainly is that and more.
100%, 100%. And he has energy. Like, he's awesome, and I'm so lucky to be able to call him my friend as well. He's a good person.
Amen. I am very happy to call him friend as well. So thank you, Scott, for being here. And it always cracks me up. The smartest guys and gals in our industry, the most accomplished, they're the ones that got a pen and paper in hand, and they know that 90% of what gets said, they've heard it before, but they're just looking for that one new idea, that one thing that can help people, or a different way of explaining something they've heard before that can connect to more people quicker. So thank you, Scott, for being who you are. And thank you for being a student of this industry, because we need more students and less mavens. Amen.
Amen.
So, my friend, we started a conversation and I said, stop, time out, no more. We got to save it for Mondays. So here's so anybody who's ever been on my show, they know we don't rehearse, we don't practice. There is nothing. We go live and it's real. So, Brent,
which is the opposite of me. And here's in fairness, you can edit this part out later. I know we're live, but I was like, we were talking, we're having a great conversation. You're like, let's save it for the show. And my version, or how I remember it, is like, you just clicked and my phone was done. Like, it was no like, hey, we'll talk about this one. Like, you're like, no. And like seconds later, you might have said goodbye because you're just a really nice individual. But like, it was like, no, bye, click. Like, I was like, because I'm a practice person. Like, I have to practice. I'm not as good on my feet as you all are. So I'm constantly practicing. You know that because the first question you asked me right when we got on the pregame was, how many pages of notes do you have?
And folks, he's got 5 pages of notes. So there'll be no shortage of material. There'll be no shortage of truth bombs being dropped this morning. But I'm going to remind everybody, we are live. So if you have a question for Brent, ask away. Brent has answers. So here's the first thing. We are spitballing about, the name for the show, and I kind of came up with this mountaintop thing because, you were in some scenery and there was some mountains and some inspiration there. And quite frankly, you've been on the top of this thing as a sales pro working a retail store. You've been on the top of the mountain as a regional and higher level executive with Mattress Firm. And here you are doing it all over again with Bedhead Marketing and other things that you do. I gotta tell you something that you don't know. And I'm telling you this live. I was told I couldn't tell it to you, but I'm going to tell it to you. Scott Vaughn thinks you are one of the most elite trainers he has ever seen in his life. Scott said that. Yep. I didn't want to do it in the green room because you're too humble of a guy, and you'd say, no, don't say that. But I have to drop that on you. And so it's amazing to me that what I love about this industry is guys like you and Scott getting together and watching the brohood grow. I love it.
Yep. Well, thank you. I don't know what to do with that. Here's what comes to mind. I've been so blessed, and I say this all the time. Like this, probably, Chris, I've probably been on your show multiple times, and you probably have a version of this we have somewhere recorded, but I'm so blessed. I have my success, and if I can say or have any success at all in this industry, is because of amazing individuals like Scott and Pete and other individuals in the industry took the time to train me, took the time to make me better, took the time to make sure I was doing the right things at the right times, taking care of customers, understanding, learning the sales process, understanding my product, and giving it the best that I possibly could, because I'm not naturally a salesperson. I'm not naturally talented, but with the hard work and the right mentoring, I was able to make a really good living on the sales floor, and I love it. I loved it. I loved it. And now I'm in a position where I have to pay it forward. I'm in so much debt on how many people have invested in me. All I can do right now is to share as many simple sales tips as much as I possibly can to help people that are starting the industry. Maybe they're in a slump. I want to help you. And that's why I love being on the show. That's why I love having conversations, because I love the mattress industry.
So let's talk about some of your inspiration from last week. Okay. So you were at a great event that Mark Kinsley put on, and Scott was there. You were there.
100%.
My good friend Scott Montague was there. That me and Scott worked together at LMP, and we worked together. I used to call, you'll laugh when you hear this. I used to call Scott Montague every night when I was a little baby Serta rep, when I first got on the road, because, I was 9 years in retail. And I got pretty good at retail, but like the wholesale thing was brand new to me. Brent, I was like fish out of water, man. I was like, I knew I didn't know, and I knew I needed to like catch up. And so I would literally call Scott almost every night and ask him all kinds of crazy questions. And I will forever be indebted to Scott Montague for putting up with me, taking my phone calls, and once in a blue moon, cutting me off after a couple of hours.
That's where you got it from. Quick.
I'm sorry. That's the upstate New Yorker coming out in me.
That's that's good. I can throw out, I have some notes from kind of high level. So I'm going to kind of look to my note pad over here and to throw some things out here. And Pete, if you see something or hear something you want to kind of talk about, we can jump into it and absolutely go all the way 100% in. But before we do, I want to give a compliment, kind of a compliment. It's a compliment at the same time. Mark Kinsley is an amazing compliment. He's awesome. But he's so talented. Like, he just gets on stage and just drops knowledge so effortlessly, and I get so jealous. And I don't know if I shouldn't say that out loud, but I do. He's so good, and I love being a part of his shows, the fam, and the talent that he brought in for speakers this year, just like the previous years, is amazing. And some of the points, like, I'm going to read off some of those things. Like, we talked about Steve Nash, MVP. I'm going to come back to that. We talked about the cost of sleep, cost the U.S. $411 billion. We talked about, there was a speaker there talking about the 4 tires economic engine and same store growth, which was amazing. I could keep going on here. Culture drives results. How are you investing in your culture? Was some things we talked about. Anyway, we had an individual from Walmart there talking about customers. What was that? Expectations, deliver on customers' expectations. Anyway, I'm gonna pause there. Anything that there sounds like we could go down a road that you want to talk about?
I'm fascinated by the 4 tires. Let's do that.
Awesome.
I'm fascinated by all of it, but that's the one that jumped out at me.
Perfect. I wish I had my, it was Jason Goodman, and Jason's super talented as well. Great speaker. I wish I'd have just have his PowerPoint. I wish I'd have taken it from him, because there was so much information on the slides, and how he talked about the 4 economic engine, the 4 tires, units, margin, ticket average, and then how they all kind of go to same store growth and selling average ticket. Like, it's it's key because he asked this question when he talked about before he kind of led into it. He's like, what's the most important? Is it ticket average? Is it margin? Is it same store? Is it units? And everyone's kind of giving their opinion. And then he showed this diagram, this model that really you kind of have to kind of focus on all of them. First, you kind of have to know your data. You apply that data, and then you can kind of start focusing on, all right, if I adjust here, if I focus a little bit more of my training on here, I can increase this part of the sale and overall grow my same store growth.
So I believe that Mike Wiffler had a picture on Facebook today. Was it a race car?
Yep.
Yeah. So I think it was margin. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Margin, ticket average, same store sales in units. Were those the actual 4 tires? Or am I missing one?
I feel like we're missing one here. Maybe we could pull it up. What's interesting though, when you really focus on, because a lot of times it's like, well, units, margin, ticket average, and it allows you to really dial in to, because you can't always predict how much traffic you get. But what do you do?
I got it. It's
all right, let's do it. Let's talk to it.
It's traffic, margin, average ticket, closing rate.
There you go. Yeah, so it's kind of cool because you can really, like, what it does, it puts the control back in the sales associates and the store owners and the managers to really own your business, because every item on there, we ultimately have ownership in. And someone, store managers or a lot of district managers, so I don't really have control over traffic. And the question is that true? Do you? And when you start making a list, and I've had some mentors that says, if you ever have a challenge, write 20 things that could actually solve it, or 20 solutions. So if you start writing down all the things that you can do when it comes to controlling traffic, Pete, we could do this right now. Like, what are some things how we can increase traffic as a store manager? Well, you can send out thank you notes, encouraging to tell their friends. You can post stuff on social media. You can have outdoor signage. You can, we can keep going on and on. You can go to apartments and drop off your business cards. I think I just named like 5 or 6 of them right there. and there's so many things that we can do.
You can do a little
to drive traffic.
Yeah, you can just sketch something on a piece of paper and run it in your printer. It could be, a special promotion just for the day. And it can be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be dollars or percentages off. It could be a special item. It could be a free item for coming into the store. But you know what? That idea, before anybody poo-poos that idea, one time I went in, I was a regional, and I went to a store, and the salesperson had a sign on the store saying, "I'll be right back. If you have any questions, call this number." And I'm like, "Dude, where are you?" He goes, "I'm right next door." He goes, I'm in the apartment complex. I'm handing out flyers so we can get some traffic in the store." And I'm like, "All right, brother, way to go." He didn't call. He didn't ask for permission. He threw me for a complete loop, dude. And I loved him for it. And listen, always support your people when they color outside the lines. Number one.
Well,
now the sign on the door was important. Don't leave the store without a sign on it, and don't do it without talking to your owner and say, "You saw it on the Pete Primeau show." Please. I don't need any more phone calls than I already get on stuff.
Well, what I think about owning your own business when it comes to traffic as well. In the early 2000s, I think it was in 2005, maybe 2004. I was in Greenville, South Carolina, and we had 3 stores at that time. And traffic was an issue because we didn't have quite the marketing that maybe Atlanta did. And I had a Tempur-Pedic banner. I had some road signs, and every Saturday I put those road signs out, and it had to be going this way with the road. So when traffic's come this way, they can see it. I had road signs, And I created an event like it was Labor Day. Every 4th of July, we made it like Labor Day on that Saturday. We took them down during the week because, one, we didn't want the signs to look sharp, but two, we didn't want the landlord to give us a fine for having extra signage out there. But when customer came in, we had the outside signage. It looked like Labor Day, as I mentioned, but we also had that same tempo and energy when the customer comes in, and we made every day feel like Labor Day. And that helped with closing percentage and units.
You know what? I'm going to ask you to talk about this because it's in our book, and you wrote about this. Let me see. You wrote about it on page 127, maximizing the guest experience. And it's the second part of that chapter where you talk about something that doesn't get talked about often enough. And that is selling the sale. Like, today is the day, the greatest day in the history of humanity for you, Mrs. Jones, to invest in a mattress and get a better night's sleep.
Oh, I'm very passionate about this because here's the deal. Like, and I we could talk an hour about this, so cut me off at 5 minutes. But here's the deal. There's something that a customer saw or happened or needs a mattress. So they're coming to your store today. Maybe they saw an ad at Labor Day and they're like, oh, maybe, or maybe they saw something today and they go, oh, there's something special going on. The timing is right. So the key is the timing is right. So they're coming into your store and they believe there's your store has a great selection or some great prices, or they wouldn't come into your store. So you have to match that excitement, that energy that they saw or assuming they saw that are bringing them into your store. And I love selling the sale. And the easiest thing about selling the sale is letting me know the timing is right. They came at the right place and you're personally going to get them taken care of. You're going to find them the right mattress at an amazing price. And the easiest way to do that is called a sale by its name. Labor Day is easy because everyone's like, hey, welcome to our Labor Day sale. Everyone does it. And it has a beginning and an end when you give the sale a name. Beginning and end, and it feels like you're not putting pressure on that customer, but it's like, oh, the timing's right. We have a 48-hour sale, 24-hour sale. I believe sometimes in October when there's really no exciting sale, our excitement goes down too. And so does our closing percentage, so does our margin, so does our ticket average because the customer's not excited or they don't feel the timing's right. And I have so many amazing sales associates ask questions or give a little pushback, however you want to say it. And they're amazing. I love the questions, but they're always like, well, Brent, what you're saying, I understand it. But last week I sold a mattress and I don't even think I mentioned the sale or we even had a sale going on. I'm like, that's probably true. It probably does happen, but let's just test this theory out. Next customer that comes in your store, what I want you to do is tell them you're so glad they're at your store. However, they came at the worst time possible because every mattress in your store is full price. They're not going to save $1 today, but don't worry, you're going to find them the right mattress and see how long they stay in your store. They're gone. I mean, they're like, oh, I appreciate you finding me the right mattress. I'm going to find your right mattress and I'm going to go across the street and buy the mattress on sale. We all want to save money. We never brag about what we spend. We brag about what we save. And it's key. So it's also making the customer feel good. Because when they buy a mattress, it was on sale, you took care of them, you found them the right bed, they're going to tell other people. They're like, hey, we saved, because it gets brought up. We know that. So when their friends bring it up, hey, I'm looking for a mattress, you want them to say, hey, go see Brent. He has an amazing selection and they're on sale right now. When that customer comes in because their friend recommended him, that's key. And now you're driving more traffic, which we talked about earlier.
You know, you said something really, really important. The timing is right for them. They came into your store, and I love when Scott Vaughn talks about this. They chose your store out of all the other stores, and you owe them the best experience they could possibly have in your store. And so I'm going to say something that this might sound a little bit mean, but it's not mean. I just want you to understand this. If you work a retail sales floor, or if you own a sleep shop or a furniture store that sells mattresses, it's about your customer. It's not about you. It's not about your feelings. It's not about you. It's about them. And when we find a sale that should have happened, but it didn't happen, almost always we can go back and look and see that we did not support the customer the way they needed to be supported. Now, that's really important. They needed to be supported. When it comes to mattresses, it's an item that isn't bought often. Customers are not confident in their ability to make that decision. They lean heavily on the internet for intel often. And on the internet, Brent, you know from being a professional that there's some really great information out there and there's some really bad information out there. And it's up to us as sales pros to kind of to make sure that we're supporting the customer the way they want and need to be supported. Because if the customer is either A, confused, B, doesn't feel comfortable for any reason, we failed to make them feel like there was something going on. We failed to make them feel important. They're walking, and it's on us. So it's incumbent on us to make them feel comfortable, make them feel like something special is happening, and also to ask great questions that somebody else at another store didn't ask. And we make it all about the customer. When we make it all about the customer, it becomes special, and that's super important. What Brent?
So I'm gonna give this, like, I believe, like, if there's one thing you take away from anything I say, this would probably be it, because I think it just works. If you want to, there's a couple things here. Listening is key. If you want to sell better mattresses, ask better questions, and they don't have to be longer questions. They just have to be really open and allow the customer to tell you exactly what they're looking for. The other thing what I think, if I was on the sales floor today, any store, first thing I would say to a customer is this, and I would speak from the heart, and I would say, I am so glad you're here. I'm going to get you taken care of. We have a great sale going on right now. It's a 24-hour sale. With all that, that's the easy part. But I love what I do. And I'm going to personally take care of you. I'm going to find you the right mattress, and I'm going to make sure it's going to help solve any sleep issues that are preventing you from sleeping. And I'm going to make sure you understand exactly what is in the mattress, if you'd like, and make it real simple and clear and a fun process. I will take care of you. And if I don't, I'll find you somewhere else to go that will be a great place for you to buy a mattress. I would say that 100% of the time, and I would give an hour presentation. I would never take shortcuts, and I would try every time to give the best presentation I possibly could. And I may not be 100% closing, but I guarantee I will win more than I lose. And every customer that walks away be like, that is a professional. He took care of me because he cared.
I love that. I got Vince Lombardi quotes running through my head right now about blocking and tackling. All those world championships with blocking and tackling. And to this day, it's still true, blocking and tackling. Andrew Burt has a question or a comment. Andrew Burt, not sure how, I haven't crossed paths with Brent yet. Feels like we've got a whole crew of mattress friends out there. Let's connect. Yes, you guys should connect. Jimmy Hurtado. I love Jimmy. It's always a pleasure to watch the Pete Primeau show. It says the pet show, but I know what you were trying to say. Highlighting incredible leaders in our industry, especially interviews like the one with Brent. Thank you, Jimmy. I'm so happy. Oh, Scott Vaughn. We did have a few questions. Question: what is one new strategy that you've learned lately that would impact stores the most right now? Boy, is that a money question.
That is a great question.
That is one of the best questions I think I've ever heard in my entire life.
Questions are our friends.
They are.
Is that for me to answer? Do you want to answer that first? You want me to take a swing at it, and then you come in and really give some great, solid information on?
I'm going to let you swing at that one. You want to put it back up, Chris?
Oh, I already know what I'm going to say.
All right,
yeah, please put it back up, Chris. So And I don't know if it's new. Sometimes old is new type deal. But if it was me and I was on the sales floor, and there's a lot of great technology out there, but if I would literally everywhere I go with a customer, I would grab a piece of paper and a pen. And this is exactly what I'd say because I want to take care of them. I would write their name down and I tell them exactly what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm going to take notes to make sure I fully understand what's preventing you from getting a great night's sleep. And I truly will be able to give you great recommendations. So if you don't mind, I'm going to take some notes from our conversation so I make sure I hear everything that you're saying. And then at the end of this, I will find a great solution for you and we will find you the perfect mattress. And I would just take notes and I would ask great questions like, when's the last time you got a great night's sleep? When you get a great night's sleep, what kind of mattress or what type of sleeping surface do you feel it is? What, if you're waking up in the morning and you're feeling great, what are you going to do for the rest of the day? Like, how does that impact your life? And I would just listen. I would ask shoulder, you have problems with your shoulder, your back, taking notes. Cause then at the end, when I find that right mattress and I'm offering the solution, I would go, here's the notes. Here's what you said. Here's what's keeping you up at night. It's your shoulder, your lower back. This mattress for A, B, and C can offer a solution to help you sleep better. Every time I would take that. And what would make that unique? It cost me $0. And nobody across the street's doing that. Nobody in our industry said, you know what? We're going to listen. We're going to ask questions and we're going to take notes so we can find exactly what the customer's looking for. I don't think it's happening. If it did, I think it'd be a big impact to everyone's business.
You know what I love? There's two things. Before you answer that question, you made that comment about no shortcuts. And you did the most important thing before you grab that pen and paper. You asked permission. I'm going to make some notes. If it's okay with you, here's why. And when you ask permission from the customer to do anything, what you are doing with the customer is you're separating yourself from your competition, but you're also making them feel empowered. You're making them feel like they count and that you are listening to them and that they are the most important person in the store right now. And
100%.
When you do, I have read thousands of exit interviews that have been done in our industry, and they're not good. They're not good. Yeah. And they feel like they're not being listened to. They feel like people talked about things they didn't understand. And the worst one is they didn't care about me. But everything that Brent is suggesting to you right now screams, I care. I care about you, Mrs. Jones. I care. And if they walked away with nothing else other than this one dude at this one store made all these notes and he asked me my opinion and cared about me getting the right mattress. If for some reason and I don't believe this, what I'm about to say, if that customer is unclosable, because I don't believe that, I've closed too many sales in person that I thought were unclosable. But if they are 100% cannot be closed, and it has to be a be-back situation, which in my worldview are few and far between. I know they happen every day. And when you get them, they're blessings from the good Lord. And it's usually because you worked really, really hard to close it the first time. But you are much more likely to get that customer back in the store when you take the steps and you don't take any shortcuts and you make the customer feel important. And writing down the answers to the questions is a great way of saying, I value you. I recognize that you're an individual and that your needs are different from other customers' needs. And I'm paying attention because I'm going to tell you something. In this world that we live in with these things, people are drowning. Right? They are drowning. They are drowning for attention. People are they're more lonely now than ever before. So Don't ever underestimate the power of paying attention and valuing your customer. And that technique that Brent just laid down for you values the customer, puts them center stage, and it separates you from the competition all at the same time. It's very powerful.
Oh, Pete, I can add 3 minutes to this if you want. And
Please do.
One, I'm going to have to we'll have to edit out some fun stuff later. And I'll get into that. But one, nobody's ever left your store because they thought they're going to get too good of a deal. They're like, oh, it's a sale. I'm not shopping here. You have a sale going on. Never said, never going to happen. The other thing that never happens is someone's like, well, I'm not going to buy from them, that sales associate. They listened to everything I said and really tried to help me. It never happens. It just doesn't. So those are two easy things you could do today to make a huge impact for your customer's experience and your paycheck. So again, my wife's like, please don't ever tell this story. And I tell it all the time. So we'll have to edit this part out. Is what I was talking about, but this is true from how I saw it. My wife may have a different version, but mine's probably the right one. So here's the deal. It was a couple years ago, several years ago, actually. It was just a regular night. We're probably married for 3 or 4 years, and woke up. I'm gonna get ready for work, and I woke up and I was giving my wife a good morning hug and a kiss, and I see her. I'm like, oh, she's like, what? I'm like, I don't know. My wife broke out in a rash. Again, you can tell her why she doesn't want to hear me tell the story, so we'll have to edit this part out. But it's relative what we're doing. I was like, oh. Do not do that. Do not do that. That's not the way to start your morning. I'm just telling you, not a counselor on marriage, but I'm just telling you, don't do it. So, and she's like, what? And I'm like, I don't know. So she runs to the bathroom. And she runs to the bathroom. She looks in the mirror. She's like, it was bad. All her arms were so swollen and her face was so red. And most people call the doctor. She did not call the doctor. She went to the doctor. There's a difference, Pete. You call, they can say, hey, we can't fit you in. She just drove, and she's been going there for like 10 years at the time. And she gets there, and the staff knew her. They're amazing. And they're like, we'll fit you in. We're super busy. The doctor that you normally see is actually on vacation. We have somebody helping out today, but we'll fit you in. And about an hour and a half, makes total sense. They finally were able to see her. The doctor that's filling in with the nurse that knows Erica comes into to see her, and they're busy. And I get it, because you imagine, Pete, if you go into a store right now by yourself at any mattress store and you help a customer and they're like, hey, do you have a business card? Or, hey, can you write up a receipt? Or like, you would just be lost. You're looking like you just wouldn't know. So I understand. I'm not taking away from the doctor at all, but they come in and, they're busy. This was first day helping out this office. Walks up to my wife, takes a look, writes a prescription, hands it to her, and leaves. And again, it might sound cold. It don't mean it that way, but that's kind of how it happened, or that's how my wife said it happened. And the nurse next to the doctor sees my wife, and she starts tearing up because she doesn't know what's going on. She's a little worried. She's nervous. And she starts to cry a little bit. And the nurse that knows Erica takes out her cell phone and calls the doctor who's on vacation that knows Erica and tells her exactly what happens. And the doctor says to the nurse, put Erica on the phone. She hands Erica the phone. And the first thing she says is, how are you? Tell me what's going on. What did you eat? Tell me any other symptoms. Don't worry. I'm going to get you taken care of. This is going to be something we can take care of today. And immediately, my wife just felt better, just asking those questions. And then she's like, after a couple moment conversation, she goes, put the nurse back on the phone. Erica hands the cell phone back to the nurse. And the doctor, thank you, wrote a prescription over the phone. Now, here's what's unique. She hands the prescription to my wife. My wife leaves. She feels better. She goes to pay the appointment. She hands both prescriptions down, and she noticed that they were both the same, but the experience was different. And I say, well, how does that relate to what we do? So many people are coming in, they're not feeling good, they're not sleeping good, they're nervous, And automatically we jump in and say, this mattress has memory foam 855 coil counts. Now I'm exaggerating a little bit to deliver the point, but it can feel like that to the customer if we don't just pause and say, hey, I'm going to get you taken care of. If you don't mind, can I take some notes? Because I want to make sure I help you today. I love what I do, and I have the best selection in here. I guarantee I can find you the right matches at the right price. How many people are going to leave? I'm telling you, you can use that today. I've been using it for years, and it works.
You know, people buy you before they ever buy a mattress or an adjustable bed base or a protector or a set of sheets or a pillow. They buy you. And my question is, are you selling those things or are you selling yourself? Chris Tahaney says nobody ever
Chris?
left the store upset because the salesperson presented too many products either. Some are great trainers but struggle to inspire. Some know how to inspire but aren't good trainers. Brent can always be depended on to do both. Yes, amen. He also asks for critiques of himself from the very people he mentors. Yes, I can testify. Many in a mentoring role treat it as a one-way street, not this guy. Great to see you fellas this fine Monday morning. Great to see you, Chris. And Jimmy says, what a great technique to build rapport and show customer you are not only listening, but paying attention to them. 100%, Jimmy. Thank you. Follow-up question from Scott Vaughn. What is the biggest mistake that you are seeing in most stores right now?
I don't have the phone on me because, Scott, after I give the answer, people think I text you to answer that, to ask that. Thank you so much. So I'm going to say again, I love the industry, and the people that I get a chance to work with and do store visits are amazing. Sometimes, though, we can get ahead of ourselves, and let me explain. So what I have seen multiple times, I say this, I keep saying this, and you know what? When I go do store visits next week or not, the week after, it's going to happen. It just does. Because, again, I know these things because I made those same mistakes. So here's the answer. I see it all the time. Customer walks in, we're taking care of them, and we go. Every sales associate goes, ask the customer, so do you have back problems? Because we know what the customer is going to say. Yes. And I promise you, more times than not, the sales associate says, great, let me show you Tempur-Pedic. And I'm like, no, ask questions on questions about questions to really understand. When they say they have back problems, don't say, great, let me show you Tempur-Pedic. Say, I'm sorry to hear that. How long's your back been bothering you? Get a few more questions and then say, hey, let me show you a solution. I see it all the time. It's and it stands out to me.
I call that PhD selling. Instead of just going. So one of the things that we've heard in sales is ask questions to understand, not to just respond. And so what Brent is begging you to do as a retail sales associate is go 1 to 2 to 3 levels below the surface. Keep it going. Keep going deeper and asking her, so how does that make you feel? How does that impact your day? Tell me more about that. When did it start? Is there something that makes it better? Is there something that makes it worse?
Yes.
Just go deeper. I've been begging you guys for every show I've ever done. I've said, go deeper. Brent is suggesting to you to go deeper again. And it's super, super important because this is separating you from your competition. This is separating yourself from all other, quote, mattress sellers. And now you're becoming an expert who's solving their very real life problem of not being able to get as good of a night's sleep as they should be getting, and how it's impacting their health and their performance. And not only does it impact their health and their performance at work, but it impacts what kind of a mother, a father, a husband, a wife they can be. So when we're talking about helping somebody wake up happy and pain-free and really solving their problems, we're talking about giving them a better life.
100%.
I mean,
Pete,
go ahead.
let's take this out of the mattress industry. Okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you know who asked really good questions? Two groups of people, moms and lawyers. Like, so think about this. Like when I got home, you know, I'm at my parents' house, so let's just call it what it is right now. Like when I got home growing up, you know, and they never asked, you know, they just said, did you have fun last night? I'm like, yes. I'm like, okay, cool. Have a good one. Like they're always like, what'd you do? Who'd you hang out with? What time did you get home? Tell me what more. Like they ask questions on questions about questions on questions and follow-up questions. And like after about 9 questions, then they're like, okay, have a good night, you know, but they never just said, cool, perfect, great. They asked those questions to get more information. And I believe we can take that very similar idea of just really trying to find the exact, what's really keeping them up, because most of the time the customer doesn't even know. So asking those follow-up questions are so important. And I have something else too, before we get too far down. Chris talked about something about mentoring and coaching.
Yep.
And we talked about, you know, what'd you learn from the conference? So I might have talked about this a little bit, but I kind of want to talk a little bit more. Steve Nash. Do you know how many times he got MVP? If you asked me this question, I wouldn't have known the answer, so I don't want to put anybody on the spot. But if you're in the chat, you can send me how many times did he get MVP of the league? 2. And you know he never was the league MVP on points, but he got the award with assists. And I like, think about that, Pete. He made the people around him better. So we talk about coaching and mentoring. It's a two-way highway. I think you should, regardless of where you're at in your career, you've been doing it for 5 days, 5 years, or 50 years, you should find a mentor and you should find people to mentor. Let that be a two-way street. What you get, give. I'm telling you, I believe of all the things in the mattress industry, if we could do one thing and to really move the needle the most, if we coach and mentored more people around us and really invested in their growth, we would give a better career for them. They would give a better experience to the customer, and they would buy an amazing mattress. And we would become one of the best things for consumers to purchase because of our buying experience. So like, do you want to buy a new car? Like, no, not as fun. We're going to buy a mattress, which now sounds kind of funny, but if we could constantly push ourselves, I believe we can get there.
I love that. I love that. So true. And if you're not a sports fan, Steve Nash was rarefied air. He really special, and making everybody look better and perform better is probably the understatement. I think that he demanded from them that they be the best they could be, because he was passing the ball to them, and you had to pay attention to him when you were on that court, because he could pass the ball any which way, behind his back.
Oh, yeah.
Not looking, faking one way, going the other. I mean, he surprised. You could see on the films, the highlight films, that he even surprises his teammates sometimes that had been playing with him for years. I mean, the other team was completely faked out very often.
Yeah.
And so where does this start? So I'll tell you where I think it starts. I think it starts with thankfulness. I think Steve Nash was thankful that maybe he wasn't the greatest shooter the NBA ever saw, but man, I am thankful that I'm a pro basketball player, and I'm gonna do the best with what I have to make the most impact that I can possibly make. And he was thankful, and every day he sought to improve just a little bit to the day that he retired. And I think that makes people special, you know,
100%.
Being thankful and loving where you're at, like be where you are. I forgot who told that to me. I've heard it several times, but be where you are, be there, and be there for your customer. and be thankful that you've been given what you've been given, and find ways to serve. Find new and creative ways to serve better than your competition, and you will always win. Well, almost always win, but you will always win in the big picture. That doesn't mean you won't lose a sale here or there, but
100%.
you will, over a period of time, you will win. You will become the most dominant store because you put the customer first. And there becomes a reputation. I'll never forget this as long as I live. I was working in a sleep shop, and this customer comes in, and she had just bought from me in the last couple of weeks, and she's got this young girl with her. And she says, I want you to meet my granddaughter. And I'm like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. Yeah, this is Pete. He's the one that helped me with my mattress. And I'm going like, I'm married. I'm married. And this woman loved the experience. She had so much. She was bringing her family members into marrying them off. So there's the bar there. That's the bar that you've got to beat somebody out there. Anyway,
Well,
I'm just having a little fun.
yeah, no, absolutely. Hard work never goes unpaid. I think everything you said about grateful heart, giving 100%, and hard work never goes unpaid. And I think there's a bigger game that you win. It's called the game of life.
Yeah. And I've said this 100 times. I pray to God that I get to say it another 100 times, or maybe 1,000 times. Always do the right thing, not because business-wise it makes the most sense and it's the most profitable thing to do. Just do the right thing to be a good human being, forgetting the consequences. But here's the crazy thing in this life. Doing the right thing is always long-term the most profitable thing. God made it that way. And I'm sorry if that offends you. If that offends you, you have bigger problems than I can help you with. But think about, what can I do today to make somebody remember this store in such a great way that if they walk out with a receipt in their hand, they tell 10 people about us and what fun they had and how much Brent cared about us. And if they don't walk out with a receipt, make sure that you're the only one they want to buy from. Think about that one. That's a high bar.
Very high bar. Do it right when no one's looking. Such a great words of wisdom there. And you know what else? Go ahead.
So, dude, we're under 10 minutes. So here's the question. Serenity Sleep Solutions. Oh, that's Marnie. Amen. Thank you both. No, thank you, Marnie. Thank you for being here. Anthony D'Amato. Brent, thank you for being here and sharing your knowledge. Well, he's not done yet, Anthony, so stay tuned, because this is the best question. Jeff Janakovo, I saw the inspiration image in passing that inspired the race car image. What was the idea behind overlaying quality and quantity? So that he's talking about the race car image, that the tires were margin, traffic, average ticket, and closing. Look at, oh my Lord. God bless you, Chris Stone. Look at you. That's what Jeff's referring to.
Yep.
Tony Campos. Oh yeah, hell yeah, let's go. So going back to Jeff's question.
Yeah, just let's cover it. Well,
Chris, pull that up. I saw the inspiration image in passing, the inspired race car image. What was the idea behind overlaying quality and quantity?
Well, I know when it comes to the four tires, they talk about the four parts of the business. And when you focus as a whole on all of them, you're going to increase same store, or you'll increase revenue. That's the idea. And each one of those, you can adjust by focusing a little bit more on one or the other, because depending on where you're at in the business, what time of year it is, that's when you would probably, the idea of like, where do you focus on your business by knowing your numbers? And then how do you increase same store? Because sometimes of the year you may not have the traffic. So you really have to lean into growing your ticket, or, if it's Labor Day, like it's about units. So I think a little bit is you kind of have to adjust, and each business owner looking at their business will have to kind of figure out where they really put the focus on, but all four of those really increase same store.
Yeah. Listen, those metrics are important metrics that we all should keep track of, and understanding that at different times we need to focus more or less on them depending on what's going on. So we are literally under 5 minutes, brother. So here's a question. What should I have asked you that I didn't, Brent?
Oof.
5 pages of notes.
Well, because we're talking about sports themes, we talked a little bit about it, but really practicing and warming up, I think we could have, or if you'd asked me that, I could have probably added a little bit more, because I think, I've never heard a sales associate. Third thing, like we're really talking about things we've never heard on the sales floor. I've never had a sales associate, an owner call me and say, Brent, I have too much traffic at my store. It hasn't happened. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying in my 22 years, it's never happened, right? And most of the time, they're like, well, I only saw 2 or 3 customers today. But my question is always like, what are you doing between customers? I'm not saying you have to practice the entire time, but being warmed up, practicing, and getting ready for that next customer is so much easier. The best time to sell mattresses is right after a sale. So don't practice on your own paycheck. We've all heard that, but do we do that? It's easy to say it, but do we do it every time? And practicing, calling some other stores, calling a friend and be like, hey, can we role play practice? It's key. If you talk about football, I've never seen a kicker to win the game. He's like, I don't need to practice. I don't need to warm up. I'll just go out there, right? 3-4 seconds before the game and kick the winning field goal. Never happens. When they get to that situation, you see the kicker on the sideline, full go, practicing his kicks, because he knows when it's time, he needs to be warmed up. I think a lot of us, when we're on the sales floor, is getting us warmed up, practicing, going through our power-based presentation, even if you did it 100 times. Pete talked about run, block, and tackle. That's not new, but that's what wins championships.
I love what you just did, Brent. We can use pro athletes for inspiration. And Larry Levine, my friend who's a sales trainer, he really goes into this very deeply in his content. And he's constantly talking about it. Like, when's the last time you looked at films? When's the last time you role played? When's the last time you did a drill? Are you doing the things that pro athletes do as a professional salesperson? Are you behaving like a professional? And I'm going to just leave you guys with this. Love him or hate him, a lot of people will tell you that Brady will go down as one of the best quarterbacks ever, no matter what, whether you love him or you hate him. Here's a reality. He had a nutrition coach. He had one of the best head coaches ever in Bill Belichick. Now you can love him or hate him too. It doesn't matter. But he had a quarterback coach that he paid out of his own money. He had a strength and conditioning coach that he paid for out of his own money. 3 coaches, in addition to having the best coach probably in the history of pro football. So what are you doing? Like, what books have you read? What podcasts
100%.
have you listened to? What are you doing? Are you using your teammates? Use your resources. If your teammates have you learned everything you could from every one of your teammates? And so I'm talking to you, you're one of 3 stores. You're one of 10 stores. Do you know all your teammates? Like, do you really know them? Like, have you made an effort to get to know them and to extract some wisdom from them. Like, everybody around you can contribute something to you to make you better. Are you taking advantage of that? Brent, I defer to you.
Well, Pete, first of all, I love you, man. You are so genuine. I love being on the show. Please have me back. It's funny. I'm laughing because I can't even make this up. What you just said, I had word for word in my notes I practiced yesterday. Use sales and sports analogies. It just works because it's about performance. And I have on here, practice like you play, leave it on the field. Hard work never goes unpaid. Being consistent on your presentation, coaching, reaching out to other stores, watching and analyzing film that can have someone watching you when they're in the store. Sales rep. Any of your reps come in and you take a customer, have them watch you, give them feedback, analyze your performance, mentally prepare, pregame, leave it all on the field. I think I said that already. Dedicate and be a student to your craft and train like a champion.
Love it. Love it. Let's finish this up with
I got one.
What you got?
I got something. So someone asked me this the other day, and speaking of sports analogies, and this could, we could get the chat going here, but I don't care what anybody says. The greatest basketball player of all time is Michael Jordan. Period. Not going to argue it. Like, it's just fact. And I actually learned from Michael Jordan. And I actually don't exactly remember what video it was. I wasn't Come Fly With Me, but he had all those videos. But I remember this conversation, and it was basically they asked Michael Jordan, why are you the best basketball player, or why are you considered the best basketball player in the world? Because to be fair, there was a lot of time he wasn't the best shooter. He's not the fastest. He couldn't jump the highest, even though he was Air Jordan. He jumped pretty high. They asked, they put it all together, but why are you considered the greatest? And in so many ways, in so many words, he said one of the things that he tips his hat to of having the success he had is what he did before he walked on the court is he would look up into the stands, and he would just kind of have this vision or this story in his head and say, because how popular he became over time, to see a Chicago Bulls game, it became very expensive. And he goes, I know there was people that couldn't afford to watch me play. And he goes, that family that saved up for weeks and months at a time that said, I want to see Michael Jordan play, or that father and mother telling their kid, if you want to be successful, you got to play like Michael Jordan. You got to be the best. You got to work hard like Michael Jordan. And before he got on the field, he would look up in the stands and say, that family spent a ton of money of their income to come and watch me play. So I was going to give 100% of the game. And if you watch me, didn't matter if we were up by 20, if we were down by 20, I was diving for the basketball in the third and fourth quarter. I gave it 100% of the time. I never took a night off. I played because I never wanted to be that person that's didn't deliver on a promise that somebody said, if you want to be great, you got to play like Michael Jordan. And if we take that same mindset in life, if it's on the sales floor, if it's being a public speaker, if it's being on podcast, if we take that says, hey, I'm going to be the best version of myself. And the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to prepare, I'm going to practice so I can deliver the best results. I'm telling you, it will get you ahead in life. It will get you where you want to go. It may not be today. It may not be tomorrow. Sometimes those things take time, but you will never regret putting 100% effort in anything you do.
Amen. All right. Scott Vaughn has one comment we'll read, and we're going to go out after that. If Chris can pull it up. The best compliment you can get from Scott Vaughn. You guys brought the funk today.
That's right. You said that last week. Yeah.
And we were planning on bringing the funk all along. We knew we were going to bring the funk, and it's our pleasure to bring the funk. So thank you, Scott, for being here. And thank you for helping us to branch into South America. So we're super excited about it. Brent, somebody that watched this show, for some reason, they don't know how to get a hold of you. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
LinkedIn. LinkedIn, go to Brent Batterman on LinkedIn, and I will respond as quickly as I possibly can. And to be able to do that, that'd be fantastic.
Awesome. Brent, thank you, brother. Everybody, have fun and sell a million. It's not sell a million and have fun. It's have fun first and sell a million. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Appreciate you,
Brent.